But yeah, Kristen, how much do you love that drive down Putes?
I do like it. Yeah, like going to work.
Yeah,
Nice. And I go past like Root River Parkway and
it's a
Speed
nice
trap.
little ride.
Watch out for the speed trap though, Kristen.
oh, is it? Okay.
It's also it is.
I was just gonna say that, Doug.
Is
it's a
it?
speed-
Okay.
It's a speed trap at 35th. I should warn you.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Franklin's got to make their money.
I think we're waiting on one more. I know Ken said he was on vacation and he doesn't think he'll be able to make the meeting today. But I did not hear back from Christy or Kim.
Kim's on.
Oh, Kim's on. Okay. Hey, Kim.
Hey,
And there we go.
I think we have a quorum with three,
Yep.
right?
We can start.
Yep.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Go ahead and call this September 14th, 2020 Oak Creek Tourism Commission meeting to order. Attendance and roll call will be done in the meeting minutes. In front of you and emailed to you, you do have the August 10th, 2020 minutes. And just wondering if there are any questions or comments. Otherwise, looking for a motion to approve.
I would make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Right on to new business. Discussion on 2021 Tourism Commission budget.
Okay, so I can start this one. First, I wanted to share the projected room tax revenue based on first and second quarter. Below are the Oak Creek hotels and the reported tax revenue for quarter one and quarter two, which are the white columns here, and then quarter three and four, which are the yellow columns. Under the table, we have a total projected of $714,489.11. A portion of these funds will stay with TID 11, the general fund, and Fund 31, which is community development, which leaves the Tourism Commission with a total of $82,526.16. So we are currently over that. So the plan for this year is to borrow from community development and then pay them back next year when things bounce back a little bit. On page 2, we have a projection for the 2021 hotel room tax revenue. So the total retained would be $1,153,814. Once allocated, the Tourism Commission would be left with $469,963.16. So that's just kind of an overview of what we're looking at for this year and possibly next year. Doug, I don't know if you had anything that you wanted to add to that as well.
Sure. I mean, and I did those and it was actually based on the first 2 quarters of actuals for 2020. Obviously, quarter 2 was really bad. I mean, first quarter was okay before all this hit, and then kind of projecting that out based on historical patterns of how we see room tax coming in. Now for 2021, I mean, doing some research, and maybe Clint has a better handle on this than I do, probably does, I hope he does. But they're projecting, at least some professional organizations are projecting a 63% increase into RevPAR, which is revenue per available room. So using kind of that figure, I backed into a number for what we could expect in 2021. And it essentially gets us back to about 2018, 2019 levels. So it's obviously, knock on wood, not going to be as bad as this year, but it's going to take a while to get us back to where we were. Any thoughts on that, Clint?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite that good.
Okay.
We're and nobody really knows. We're going to go for 14% growth in occupancy in 2021 over 2020. That's how we're budgeting as a company. And we'll finish around maybe 45% this year. So it's not, and usually as a company, we would finish around, say, 67% to 70. So still quite a bit down. We're still not seeing business travel move at all. So we, we're basically buckling up for the long haul for 6 months is where we're thinking. So we don't think anything's really going to start rolling at all until April. So that's our real goal. So we really, really need summer events to happen for us to recover it all. We need Summerfest to come back, State Fair. We need youth sports to come back hard. We need all of that to happen. Otherwise, there's not a chance that this is going to come even close to your projections there. But so we're hoping for a spring recovery. We do think that we don't think that first quarter of 2021 will obviously we don't think it'll be as good as it was in 2020, believe it or not, because that didn't really affect us until mid-March, COVID-19. So that's kind of where we're at right now, but I would say that's a little high, but I really hope that your numbers are more right than mine.
And that's using a national figure for projection, and that's again using revenue per available room.
Yep.
I think certainly these quarter 2 and 3 numbers are so event driven that you're right. I mean, if this drags into summer of next year, that's kind of all bets are out the window. And I think maybe then rather than looking at the absolute numbers, I think we need to use that as kind of as a barometer to think about how we view our spending for 2021. Recognizing that there's still a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
And just as when Clint's company is kind of buckling down for kind of bracing against that unknown, I think that the Tourism Commission needs to do that as well.
We have honestly one goal in our company, and I'm sure every other hotel's in the same boat. I want to survive. That's all I'm hoping for. I want to have this company open in the spring. That's the level that we're at right now. It's that bad. And we watch the airport numbers pretty closely because that obviously impacts us a great deal. So June was down, I think, 79% year over year for total passengers. July was down 71. So it went up 8% over June. So we need to start seeing that come back as well to really kind of start generating some room nights and things like that in our neighborhood.
Well, I know in the last meeting too, it was mentioned that we should set a separate meeting to talk about the budget and some of the numbers for next year. So I will move forward with setting that up, and everyone should be receiving a meeting invite shortly. I just have to figure out what day works best for everyone.
Okay.
Hey, Clint, this Corey, I have a call with Peggy from Visit this week.
Yeah.
It's a personal call, but have you gotten any sense? I know they're being very tight-lipped about Summerfest, but I heard through the grapevine that they can't afford to have a 2-year hiatus just based on the way that they're funded and as many people as work there. Have you heard anything at all?
I have not about that specifically. I've heard that they're thinking about doing like a totally different format where they're looking to do it over 3 weekends or something like that. But
Has anybody
no,
heard of it?
I mean, that sounds about right. It does make sense.
Well,
But no, I have not specifically heard anything about that.
I think they had in the news that it was going to be over a 3-weekend period, just kind of spread it out.
Yep.
How does that, in that thought process, I know any activity is better than no activity, Clint, but was the hotel stays better over the weekends for Summerfest than when it was all week?
Well, I would say generally, I would like the format that they had before because it gives us a little additional weekday business, especially over some Sundays, things like that. But typically those weekends in the summer are always busy, regardless if Summerfest was going on or not, with youth sports and other things going on around the neighborhood. So we would prefer that the original format be in place, but I don't think it's extremely detrimental to our business.
How does that work, everyone, as far as us borrowing money from the city? Like, what amount are we borrowing, I guess? I guess I know it's a little bit semantics, but what does that mean?
Just really an interfund transfer. And I don't know what the exact number was, Kristen. I don't know if you have that or not, or if that's what Bridget had or Andrew has, but you know, it just, you know, we'd hold that off until the tourism fund was able to, you know, we pay that from surplus from out years.
Mhm.
Community development has they just don't have a lot of expenditures. And when they do, they're in bulk. But
And let's just maybe for clarification, when we're talking about community development, we're talking about the Fund 31, which is the Economic Development Fund, not community development, which is an operational fund within the city.
and that's what we're borrowing from, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that, I mean, I was surprised really at the number of communities that are doing outdoor events right now. So do you think that would give Summerfest more confidence for next year?
If I hear anything, I'll let you know, Kim. I'm talking to Peggy, who has a direct relationship with the people of our Summerfest. I'll let everybody know.
Right.
I'm sure a lot of it's going to be based on results from vaccine and,
Yeah. I mean,
you know, there's obviously a tipping point where they have to make some decisions
Yeah.
post-election.
I think
Mhm.
Clint said it best. No one knows anything.
Right.
All
Well,
right,
it's not just Summerfest, it's all the smaller fests
Yeah.
too, right?
Right.
So. All right, well, thank you.
Any other comments about the 2021 Tourism Commission budget? If not, we'll move on to the recap presentation of the Oak Creek Beer Garden and Bacon 5 Kegs Walk and Run.
A few weeks ago, we had our first beer garden of the year. Overall, it was good weather and attendance. This was the first year we held the event at Drexel Town Square, and we heard feedback from the restaurants that they were busier than usual. In addition to the restaurants, we also had 2 to 3 food trucks on site each day. Volunteers were a little bit light, but we were able to collaborate with local nonprofits for additional help. So all tips at the bar were donated to the organization, and each day we had a different group. And that actually turned out to be a good fundraising opportunity for them. Friday, we had the Oak Creek Foundation for Education, and that is the group that Kim is on. And Kim, if you'd like to add anything on that too, you feel free. And beer garden sales, we actually were up from last year. We did about 20,700 in sales, and we profited about $6,000. And then on Sunday, we actually partnered with the South Suburban Chamber on the new Chamberfest event. And Sarah, I believe, is also on the Zoom call. And feel free to add anything for that event if you have anything to add.
Yeah, overall, I think it was a really great event. We had 17 different chamber vendors actually in attendance, in addition to the vendors that were food vendors. So Saz's and Pineapple Cafe were there as well. So it actually turned out to be a pretty great day.
As far as the beer garden on Friday night where we volunteered, it was interesting. Zune was there with their employees, and they asked if the city would do the beer garden more often in the summer because they wanted to use it as like, you know, a way for employees to get together. So I just want to share that feedback. Although like the event was really well attended, it was super spread out. So people, you know, really their only source of kind of being in line was for the beer, for the tickets, but after that they were in their collective groups, so that was, I think, good. And just one thing for Kristen, I would stop like handing out the cups with the tickets. I would just let the beer people grab a clean cup, because then we're looking to see if is it clean, is it used, and sometimes they were sticking together and people didn't like that. And so I think if we could just manage the cups and the tickets were just sold and handed out, it would make the process, I think, a little easier.
Sure. Yeah, we actually switched that halfway through the beer garden. I'm glad you
Okay,
brought that
good.
up. So there was a separate table where people would come and purchase their ticket for beer, and there was one person handling the credit card transactions. We actually didn't take cash at the event. So then we moved the cups to the bartender station so that when people would drop their tickets, they would get a fresh cup every time, and then they were encouraged to throw that out every time they used it. So yep, halfway through, we actually ended up switching that because we saw logistically that would probably work out a little bit better.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then I just want to say too that having the nonprofits volunteer is such a great opportunity, not only for them, but then they also promote the event with their base. And so I feel like Friday night worked out really well because, we were kind of sharing that with like the sports teams and things like that, and their families kind of came out. So I think that helps with the overall, messaging of come, support your local charity kind of thing.
Kristen, with the food trucks, I mean, were they there on a kind of a contract basis, or is there any revenue coming back to the event from them?
There is not. We just sent out an email to the food trucks who usually participate in the food truck tours on Wednesday nights, and there were a few that said they were available. So we didn't charge them anything for a spot. They just were asked to stay the duration of the event. In years past, we've actually had some food trucks that, if it's slower, they'll just leave and then there goes your food for the night. So we just asked them to stay from like 4 to 9 p.m. So more of like a verbal agreement, but all of them were able to do that.
I had gotten some feedback that people were looking for more food trucks, and I had just said, and I don't know if this is right, but I said, well, we have to support the restaurants in the square. So, you can also, utilize that as a source, for getting food. But is that the reason why we're a little bit lighter on the food, or would we consider more? Or do you think that was a good balance?
Yeah, because this is the first time we had it in the square, we didn't invite as many food trucks each day because I also wanted it to be a revenue generator for the restaurants. And we did see a few people who went to Pizza Man and they actually had their pizzas to go. So they would just bring that out on the picnic tables and listen to music and grab a beer. We can definitely look at adding more if that was a recommendation from some of the attendees. I would just want to make sure that both groups benefit from serving food.
Right. Or maybe that the restaurants actually are prepared for the volume, that they have more to go items kind of ready to serve. And we could cross promote, hey, you can get this special at this restaurant today. Because they're, like you said, we want to support the businesses that are in the square as well.
With the setup then, I mean, and certainly we should work with those businesses if there is mutual interest there, and there may not be, I don't know. But maybe rather than focusing the event on the south half of the square, maybe we can focus it more on the north half adjacent to those restaurant spaces.
Yeah, definitely. We could look at doing that.
Did the restaurants have a lot of to-go options for patrons at the beer garden?
Yeah, I would say some more than others. I want to say Cubanitas and Pizza Man had signage outside their restaurant that said, hey, here are your options to go for the event, and you can take it out on the square. That could be communication on my part too, though. I mean, I could maybe stop by each restaurant the week before the event and just say what we're doing. This is how many people we're expecting. Maybe have a few to-go options available for the event. And I know as a staffing part of it too, a lot of people weren't able to have like someone man a tent outside the restaurant because they were busy inside. So they had to stay in their restaurant.
I think you're right, though. The more we just over communicate the opportunities for them, then they can't, say we're not partnering, being a good partner. So, obviously sometimes they can't participate, which we totally get. But at least if we know in advance, then we know to maybe leverage more food trucks, or if they are, then we can support them more.
Okay. Then Bacon 5K walk run.
I can take this one. So this was a fun event. We ran it on Saturday, September 5th at Lake Vista Park. The Tourism Commission partnered with a company called 5K Events. This event was normally ran in Racine, but they actually moved the walk run to Oak Creek at Lake Vista Park. And this was the first year doing that. There was no cost to the Tourism Commission, only promoting the event and using our advertising dollars, and they handled the logistics and signing people up for the event. Afterward, we were able to pull some analytics, and we found that a lot of people came from out of state. I was going to send an email to the hotel managers asking if they had anyone stay overnight for the event, because it does look like some people came from California, Florida, Illinois, and follow this event and actually sign up frequently. So we have the 5K walk run in the morning, and attendees were asked to wear their mask when they gathered at the Lake Vista Park Pavilion. They were able to take their mask off when running through the park and just make sure that they kept their distance from the other runners. And then there was an after party at Lake Vista Park where they could get bacon, beer, and we also had pork sliders that were provided by Cubanitas. Pictures are here too of what the setup looked like. But overall, it was a fun event.
Do you know how many people came? I'm sorry, I don't know if I missed that.
We had about 100 people who signed up to do the walk run. And then in addition, we had the runners' families that came out.
And what was that in comparison to their typical attendance at the Racine event?
They usually get around 350, but they said just with this year being a little bit different, they had a virtual option, and they had a handful of people that did that ran on their own time. But they said if we were to run this event again next year and continue the partnership, that we would definitely see that number move up.
Yeah, I think that's important to note. That,
It looks like they are in November having a bacon beer walk in Racine. I saw that on social media. I wonder if that's the same company or if they're just trying to replicate the event.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely look into that. In Racine, you said?
Yeah, and I'll share it with you. It's November 7th. So
On November 7th, okay.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the Confluence Art event.
Yeah. So the Confluence event is this Saturday. It looks like good weather this weekend, and this event will take place during the second Oak Creek Beer Garden that we have at Lake Vista Park. We are partnering with Milwaukee on this event, and they are handling the logistics, the music lineup, live artists, vendors, and we were able to add a few more vendors. So we have about 25 that are participating. We also have on-site chalk drawings and food trucks. We have about 6 that'll be on site for Saturday. So this is just kind of an overview of what we're looking at for this weekend. And we will be pushing this event out, promoting it on social media. There is currently an event created on the Facebook page, and then Milwaukee will also be promoting the event as well. We also have social distancing practices that'll be in place. A lot of these activities too, they'll be manned by one person, so that will disinfect like the ladder golf after each person uses it. And we'll also have hand sanitizer on site along with signage encouraging people to wear their mask. This is kind of the map setup that we're looking at. But yeah, any questions on this event?
Okay. Move on to the 2020 community event calendar.
So the last thing I wanted to share was the events for 2020. We actually took out the events that didn't take place this year. So this is currently what we did run and what's remaining. We have one more food truck event in Drexeltown Square on September 30th. And we also have the Fall Festival, which will take place on October 24th, which we're planning to move forward with. The farmers market will continue through October 24th, and that'll be kind of the last celebration when it's combined with the Fall Festival. Trick or Treat and Light the Square are the Celebration Commission events. So I also wanted to include those into the calendar. And I also wanted to share the company 5K events. They are interested in partnering with the city and combining efforts on the Turkey Trot event that we run in Emerald Preserve. So this event, they have run in the past and they've gotten around 500 participants, a lot of them from out of state. So I do feel like it's a really good opportunity for the Tourism Commission to partner because there would be little cost on our end just promoting the event. Right now through the city, we host it at Emerald Preserve, which is right next to the library. And I know Leslie, Mayor Dan, Alderman Chris Guzikowski all work on that event. We did reach out to them and see if they'd be interested in moving the event to the lakefront and making it a little bit larger. And they would be interested in doing that as long as we keep in the nonprofit portion of it. I believe we use it as a food drive too to collect non-perishable food items. So 5K events actually sent over the participants from last year and the state and city where they drove from. So I just wanted to share this with the group. Looks like they had a lot of people sign up for this event. And if we were to move forward with it this year, it would take place Thanksgiving morning, that Thursday, around 9 a.m. at Lake Vista Park. And we'd look at promoting the event in early October. So if we wanted to move forward with that, I feel like it would bring a lot of people into the city and for Thanksgiving Day.
In partnering with them, what kind of cost would the Tourism Commission incur?
So it would just be promoting the event.
Okay.
So yeah, they would take care of all the logistics. And then when people would sign up, they would also get like a medal and a t-shirt and some food after the event. And we don't have a lot going on in November, just with the colder months. We don't have too many outdoor events. So this would be something new that we could add to the calendar.
Question about that. I mean, there's obviously a fee involved with that. I think one of the things that the Turkey Trot, whatever you call it, I mean, it was just kind of something that residents or whomever could just go there and walk. And I think that the fact possibly, and let's talk about it, that now it's a registration event with a fee involved. I think that's getting away a little bit from the origination of the event. It was kind of homegrown and just something that we need to think about a little bit, just so that we don't, turn this into something that, oh, they took away our free event and now I have to pay to walk around the park.
Good point.
Yeah, and
Well,
I can chime in a little bit. I mean, that event began as part of the Mayor's Fitness Challenge with Mayor Scafidi back in probably 2013. And it was huge the first year we did it. We had gorgeous weather. I think it was in the 60s that day. And we had over 100 people do it. Since then, it's gotten colder and the numbers have dwindled. There's a solid group of 25 to 30 people that probably come out for that hour in the morning. So yeah, that might be something that we would have to consider. And maybe there's, for the people that choose to walk, there is no fee. And I think we could probably work with the organizer on that because they understand the origins of the event as well.
Well, I just feel they're two separate audiences, right? You have people that are just kind of coming out to support the city, donate some food and enjoy our, Emerald Preserve. And then now you have runners that want to run 5K. So couldn't we just do the same thing and just let the people that, are passionate about one or the other, just choose that? I don't know why we would have to combine it, I guess.
What is the fee for the runners with the new event? Is it,
That is a good question.
I just wondered if it's, something that would deter people or not, I guess.
I want to say it's not too much. I want to say it was like $25 to $30 to participate, and then you get the T-shirt and food after the event too.
Yeah.
But that is a good point. I mean, I wouldn't want to take anything away from the people who really enjoy coming out to Emerald Preserve and walking. We could definitely look at keeping the two events separate too.
Well, usually you get a tag or a sign or something, right? If you're participating, so it'd be pretty obvious who is participating and who is just there for a walk, or even if they want to run.
Yeah, and I think the point is, we should make an option available for those, people who are just out there to burn off a few calories before Thanksgiving dinner, as opposed to someone who's, doing it as a 5K. And
Right.
And like Leslie said, I mean, if it's 25 to 30 people, I mean, I think we can find a way to make that happen.
And I actually spoke to the organizer. Full disclosure, it's my brother-in-law, but he is, and I asked, I said, those of us who want to walk, we're not going to run a 5K. So we would come out, and I asked about the logistics of that. And he said every time that they have done a run walk, the runners go and they start their run, and the walkers just kind of file in afterwards and do their own thing. And it's obviously a shorter route. So he didn't seem too concerned about that part of it. But I think as far as, will we lose our core group of walkers because they don't want to pay an entrance fee? Potentially. So that might be something that we would either, work out a special, if you want to walk, come out and walk. You just don't get a T-shirt in the middle and all that other folderol. So I don't think that would be a huge deal. But we certainly could keep it as is for those who want to walk. We just go to Emerald Preserve as well. So I mean, the lake is gorgeous though, so it might be a fun, change of scenery as well. I think it's all figure outable for sure.
The lakefront in November could be. You go to this, could be,
I don't know, warmer near the lake at that time of year. I have no idea.
No, it's going to be windier. That's the nice part about Emerald Preserve for the walkers. At least you're kind of, the buildings are kind of cutting it a little bit. Yeah, the wind. Yeah, exactly.
It's still cold, but yeah, it's doable. But I mean, and the thing about doing a walk is, we get some people that come out and do one lap around Emerald Preserve, and they're like, nice to see you, goodbye, we're gonna go and warm up. And other people stay for the whole hour and walk many laps. So it's pretty casual. And I mean, I think, again, if we get 30 people, it's a lot, but it's the same people every year for the most part. So
don't some people just drive up and donate food though too, Leslie? They're not even walkers. It's more of just be thankful. The mayors come out, say hello, and drop off your bag of food, right?
Yeah, I think I would say 90% of people stay and walk, but yeah, I'm sure there's some level that just come through and drop off their food and leave. But
I don't know if we made any decisions, so.
I think we should definitely partner with it. It's just a matter of if we, you may just have to circle back with the mayor and see how he wants to keep something, more local and informal and separate. I would hate to say, well, we're doing this and, we're not going to have even informally Thanksgiving, walk around Emerald Preserve. And I think that would turn off a few people, but certainly, having a more organized event at the lakefront, I'm not opposed to that at all. I think that's a great idea, but it's just, recognize that there's a small clientele that's probably going to be, a little concerned if we take away that opportunity that exists today.
Just a thought, we could kind of throw a questionnaire out to residents and, and say, what do you think? It couldn't hurt to get the opinion. I mean, I could certainly probably identify our regulars and informally query them and see what their thoughts are on it. Again, it's a pretty core group, so they might say, hey, yeah, let's just walk at the lake instead. So, that's something that we might want to consider. And I'm completely okay with having our trek at the Emerald Preserve as normal. But again, if everybody's going to go down to the lake and I'm standing there by myself, I don't want to do that either. So, having some sort of plan would be good. And if our normal participants love the change of venue and want to do it that way, then, let's combine it and run with it. I know Dan was in favor of growing the event. When Kristen asked him, he said, yep, it's something
Okay.
he wanted to do. So, and I think Goozy he likes having it at Emerald Preserve, obviously, because there's a family tie to that, but he wasn't opposed either to moving it.
Is there any way to start it at Emerald Preserve instead of by the lake, or is that just not an option?
That'd be a long one, yeah.
The
Okay.
route becomes complicated if you do anything from Drexel Town Square, as we have
Okay.
discovered, researching it for other things. So
Right.
the lake is
Yeah.
gorgeous. They love it. I mean, he's already got the route mapped out. So,
Okay.
he's, I know, just speaking to him casually, he would love to do more events there just because it's, they figured out the route and it works well and it's
Okay.
gorgeous. So,
The route itself, how long does the run itself take? It's not like we're taking up, hours and hours of time for the run itself, right?
No, I would say the run, like at most, even if you're walking, it would take like 45 minutes.
Yeah, so,
yeah, and I asked Pat about that too, because I was, we schedule the turkey trek for an hour. I think that's all anybody wants to be outside in November. And he
Right.
said the run is in the turkey trots that he has done. It's basically people come, they do their hour of running, and there's no, nobody hangs out after. Nobody's, everybody wants to get home to their family. So same basic concept. It's just whether it's a run and a walk and what the location is. So I think being that it's a Thanksgiving morning, people have other things they want to do. So yeah, it's probably about an hour either way.
Mhm.
How many years have we done the turkey trot in Emerald Preserve? Is this like the 4th annual or?
Well, it started out as part of the Mayor's Fitness Challenge, and it was probably 2012 or 13. I'd have to go back and look, but started out at the high school track. We were there for probably every year until we moved to Drexel Town Square. So it's been in DTS since 2015. I think so. So yeah, we've done it every year to some extent. It's either been at the high school or at Emerald Preserve. So it's a good tradition. And again, people that have done it come out pretty much every year, whether it's part of the challenge or not. So
I think it might be a good idea though for some competitive runners who are looking for a little bit more than say what you get at Emerald Preserve. You might get some people who even travel a little bit, maybe from another suburb or that kind of thing. So I think overall it's a great idea, and it's probably not worth trying in the whole scheme of things.
Mhm.
Okay, well then maybe we plan to move forward with this, but then we have further discussion on combining the events or having two separate.
Sounds good.
Good.
All right, I guess we're looking for a meeting or a motion to adjourn.
good, so a motion to adjourn?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Have a great day, everyone.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll see you at noon, right?
Yes, at noon. Yep.
Noon? Okay, I sent you a message. Are we still going to Bel Air?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, this is really important business.
Sounds like that.
Bye, everybody.